Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, is my good friend Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
Long time no see, dude. It's been so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Right.
yeah, Cal didn't make it, dude. Cal didn't make it.
He
The
decided to
goblins got him.
unionize.
The goblins got him, dude. They the goblins have got it, and he's not coming back until I beat Metaphor, so he's just gone forever. Basically, he's gone, dude. He's gone. It was nice knowing you, Kyle. We're not paying the ransom, but it's been so long, man. It's been so long. It's been a month in our time. I think it has basically been a month, hasn't it?
Just about since we've come back to record one of these now.
It's crazy, right? It's like I remember, because obviously we haven't been anywhere. If you've been listening on a weekly basis, we've not been anywhere. You might be like, what are they on about? Well, we do pre-records over the holiday season so we can have a bit of a break. And so it's like I was getting to the point where I was like, I don't even remember what the last pre-record we did. So I was sitting there last Monday and I was going, oh, what is the episode this week? I don't remember. And when it came up on my phone, it's like, oh, it's PS3. I'm like, oh yeah, we did do that. That was an episode that we did.
I hit a point where I forgot the order in which they went. Like I remembered all of what we did, but I just didn't remember what order they came in anymore.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a long time, Hunter. It's been too long, but we're here, we're back. It's another year of the HGO podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and we're testing some things out. If you're on the video version, you might see my webcam is looking a bit different. We're trying something new. I'm using my phone as a webcam, so if I magically turn into a worse version of myself at a completely different angle, I've got a backup recording just in case this goes terribly. But we're testing that out. We're testing some stuff with the audio. We're doing all sorts of stuff as we get ready for the new year. So hang on with us for a little bit, okay? Technical difficulties may happen, and if they do, we apologize. We'll try and fix them. It's while Kyle's not here, you know. While the goblins have got Kyle, we'll just do some tests. We'll do some tinkering so that when he's back,
We gotta sort it out, make it real comfy for him when he
we've got to do
comes
some
back.
spring cleaning. Yeah, exactly. But hey, this week we're going to be talking about everything that's been happening in the world of gaming while we've been away, which luckily for us has all happened in the last couple of days, so we don't have to worry about that too much. We're going to talk, basically, we're going to do a sit down and we're going to talk what is the state of the big three right now going into 2025. How are we feeling about Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft as we go into the year, and discuss what's happened, because a lot of stuff has already been coming out. A lot to keep track of. There's been, from all three of them, we've heard a lot about. Obviously, Sony has had two projects completely cancelled. Nintendo has announced finally the Nintendo Switch 2. Rest in peace, Super Switch believers. You are no more.
Yeah.
And Microsoft is basically, it's leaked that it seems everything is hopping ship. So we'll see what's happening. We're going to talk all about it.
They've also got a developer_direct coming sometime this weekend or this week.
Yeah, I think it's next.
This one comes.
I don't know. It's hard to keep track of all these things, dude. It's like, I feel like we're getting something. Obviously, we've got that April Direct, and then, you know, apparently there's a State of Play next month. There's also this Developer Direct next week. Apparently,
hilarious.
there's Pokemon Presents in February, like there always is, but apparently the final Switch 1 Direct will also be in February. There's so much stuff still happening, and we'll be covering it all, ladies and gentlemen, so don't you worry. But hey, if you're new here, welcome on in to the HGO podcast. We're here every Monday at around 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern on podcast services everywhere, and at youtube.com/hot gamers only. Obviously, as we get into the new year, things are still winding up. Cal's got some articles on the website if you want to go and check that out. We'll get into reviews as we get into them. Obviously, Hunter, you've got one in the pipeline.
Silent Hill 2 review should be up sometime this week.
Hell yeah. January for us is usually the season to go back and figure out any missed reviews.
Put in one that you missed because we don't got anything to play right now.
Especially, because Assassin's Creed got delayed this week as well. So it's like, we've really got nothing for a while. Ethan is playing Avowed now. That's a shame. So look forward to that. But yeah, it's crazy. So we'll have a lot of stuff up as we get into the new year. But yeah, I mean, let's just get straight into it, dude. We're back. We're ready to go. Let's dive straight into it. And I think it would be amiss to not talk about Nintendo first, because I think that is the thing, really. That is the topic of the week, isn't it? It's been wild watching this unfold, especially because this has been really fun for me because obviously Nintendo Switch 2 leaks have been happening for the past year, if you've been unaware. I saw well the original leaks for the like everyone's been talking about it, the console being leaked over the past like 3 weeks. I saw the original 3D renders for the Switch that basically the exact like months ago. Like this thing has been leaked already for a while, right? But obviously things have heated up
Yeah.
a lot more recently. Uh, and it's been nice not having the backlog, not having to talk about it. Because if this was a September October thing, I'm sure we would have mentioned it in passing like every single week of like, oh, another thing's leaked, oh, another thing, and it's like it's nice to not like just not talk about it and now just be here where it's finally revealed. We've got the go ahead.
After a solid 5 to 6 years of white noise about a new version of a Nintendo Switch, I became an ardent non-believer in anything until it's shown officially.
Yeah,
So
100%. And I think the thing with the Switch is it's like, ever since I'd say 2019, 2020, we had the Switch Pro rumors and they
yeah,
never
yeah, it was right
died.
around the time that they made the light switch. People got it in their heads that there was going to be a docked-only version
Well,
that
yeah,
was going to be
it'll have
better.
and it'll have an OLED screen. Like, there's like,
Yeah,
oh, the
all that
Switch
kind
Pro
of
will have an
stuff. And
OLED
I'm sitting
screen.
here like, you people are idiots. You've only had this console for 2 years, and you already want to buy something else.
Yeah,
And
100%.
that just never went away.
But I
And
do, Hunter. I like giving you
every
money.
every passing year that Nintendo was like, "Nah, we're keeping the one we've got," it gave me life
Yeah.
because everyone else is stupid.
But it has felt like a it's like Switch Pro rumors just kind of eventually everyone just gave up and went, it'll be Switch 2, and it just kind of spiraled into that, and then here we go,
Yeah,
right? And, it's announced. What do we know about the Nintendo Switch 2, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we know that it is called the Nintendo Switch 2. We know that it's coming out in 2025, and we know that it's bigger.
yeah,
What then? We can talk about the leaks and rumors. We can basically gather from basically Nintendo did their little. If you haven't seen it, which of course you've seen it, because if you're watching this podcast, you are definitely nerdy enough to have watched the Switch 2 reveal. It's basically just a showcase of hey, Joy Cons are bigger, the screen's bigger. Look at this. Here's 5 seconds of Mario Kart that you're going to analyze for the next 2.5 months. But main takeaways from the leaks, if you didn't know, Switch 2 uses magnets instead of the rails. Thank God. Hallelujah. Hooray. Because I hate the Nintendo Switch rails because I feel like every single Joy-Con. I've never had Joy-Con Drift Hunter, but I've always had wiggly Joy-Cons where if you take your Joy-Con while it's on the Switch and give it a bit of a thing, it's never completely secure. Where I'm like, it always bugs me.
sometimes with like the left one specifically, I'd like if I just hold it a little with a little too much gusto, it'll like knock itself out of place, and I'm like, oh, oops.
Yeah, the little plastic clips. Yeah.
Eh,
So yeah, it's using magnets to connect itself to the Switch. Obviously, the rumors are that you can use them as mice. So there's a sensor on the side where you can use it as a mouse. You've got Hall effect analog sticks is the rumor. Hopefully, we can only dream because of the Joy-Con drift. It was funny that they were drifting around the race. That was quite
that was
funny
very
though.
funny.
I hope that was intentional. I feel like it will be the way that they were kind of just they weren't just moving, they were drifting the way that they were going, dude. Like I feel like
That means
somebody
if
had
the
a bit of
product
fun.
is a higher quality, that's a false advertising.
Yeah, and everything's just a little bit bigger. Uh,
Which would be nice because I don't play in handheld mode very often, but when I do, it'll be nice to have a more comfortable handle on everything rather than like scrunched.
yeah, I'm everything everything from what we're seeing. I'm like, yeah, that is a bigger Switch. That looks like the next Switch. Cool.
Yeah,
I
like if you
do.
were to ask somebody to imagine what it would look like in their head, you got it in one.
Yeah,
Picture a Switch 2. There you go.
and I think there's been a lot of discussion. I saw a Eurogamer article which I think is quite
Oh my
stupid.
god.
That was basically like, this is where's the Nintendo Magic, and I'm like, this is literally if we were in the opposite universe where it was called the Switch U and it was all quirky, then everyone would be like, what's Nintendo doing? They had a surefire hit. Why didn't they just make a Switch 2? And it's like,
Look, I don't care about a console surprising me. I just want it to be I just wanted to play my games and do it better than the previous one did. They can surprise
yeah.
me however they want with the games. You know, because for as much as Nintendo's been on like a let's be silly and goofy with our console gimmicks since the Wii, I don't know. There's a reason we don't play with motion controls very often anymore.
Also, are you not telling me that you don't think they're going to do something stupid with the stuff like the mouse compatibility? You think they're not going to do something really goofy with that? You don't think that
I'm
they are
sure
going
that
to...
Mario Party, the first Mario Party that comes out on this, will have an annoying or it'll be another one where you can only play with a singular Joy-Con because of that.
And I think my hopes for the Switch 2 are, yes, it doesn't necessarily have the quirk of prior Nintendo consoles of the, the true innovation or whatever. To that I would say, yes, because there was nothing more quirky than the brick that was the Wii U. I love that. But, I'm hoping that innovation kind of, comes from the
The
UI, the
games.
way that the thing works, the games, the actual software that's on the damn thing. I don't care
Yeah.
if the brick
Like,
looks the same, if it
yeah.
plays new innovative software. Like
It's
there's so many
like
problems that I have with the Switch
tell
that...
me what was so groundbreaking and spectacular about NES to SNES to N64 to GameCube.
Nothing.
There weren't any gimmicks there.
No. Except for shit controllers. I guess that was the gimmick.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, like it was really like, because here's the thing, right? Is the Switch isn't perfect, and that's what I really hope is that's when I will get nerdy, where I'm like, show me the home screen, show me the eShop, show me the stuff that I hate about the original Switch, because the original Switch is fantastic. I love the Switch. The Switch is probably my
Nintendo's
favorite
best
Nintendo
console.
console. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can also not deny that
It could be better.
it was a, it was a let's just throw it from the half court and hope that it hits the net. They rushed this thing out. The Switch UI is awful. It is like the most basic UI that Nintendo has ever created. It feels like they rushed it out of the door, and then we were all like, "Oh, they'll patch it eventually. They'll add themes in. They'll add that Nintendo magic in eventually." And they never did. The eShop is awful, right? The way that Switch friend codes and profiles work is not good. There's a lot of stuff that's on the internals that they can really fix with the Switch that I hope that they will with the successor. Well, I guess we'll see. And then the games are what matter, and obviously we'll get the games in due course. We'll get them on April 2nd when we see what all the fuss is about. But
Yeah.
as the console goes, I look at it and I go, oh, cool, slightly bigger. That's nice. It's got a good stand again that's not the flimsy
Yeah.
piece of trash that is the original Switch's kickstand. That's awesome.
I
Joy-Cons are
used
bigger.
that thing like in actuality twice, and then one time, every other time it just kind of got in the way while I was picking it up or holding it, and eventually it like broke.
Yeah. Bigger screen. Joy-Cons are nice and a lot bigger, which is nice because maybe people with regular sized hands can actually play it with the boomerang
It'll be
like kind of
nice to
style.
not press every button at once. Yeah.
And people, they I think honestly, as reveals of consoles go, was it the bare minimum that they needed to do? Yes, but do I think they nailed the messaging for normies especially? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Nintendo
I
Switch
think they
2.
did the
What is it?
job.
It's a Nintendo Switch 2. It's a bigger Switch. It's the next Switch. We made it very clear. And then what do they say straight at the end of it? It's backwards compatible. Most of your games will play. I think the games that won't play when they have that asterisk are like Labo, because obviously the VR will only
Oh
work with
yeah.
the original Switch dimensions and stuff like that. That'll be my guess. Maybe Ring Fit, like those
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. Things
games.
with extra hoops to jump through.
Maybe Mario Party, because I don't know. I didn't see the IR sensor on the bottom of the new Joy-Cons. I don't know if you saw,
Oh, no, I don't
but
recall.
but also you could.
It's okay.
The original
It's
rumors
okay.
were that
Play
you
the other
could.
Mario Party.
The original rumors anyway were that you could connect all Joy-Cons. You just can't attach them, so you can use them still as remotes for old games. You just can't actually dock them with the Switch. That's why they started
Mm.
selling the Joy-Con charger like a year ago. That was the
Oh.
original rumor. But I think April's a long time to wait. But hey, we'll get there with that 5 seconds of Mario Kart footage. I guess the real question, Hunter, the first question to you: when do you think the Switch 2 comes out? Where are we placing the Switch 2 this year?
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Because there's a couple of hints. Obviously, the direct's in April. There's a couple of events. There's some in-person events that you can, if you want to go to Nintendo's website, if you live near any of the cities that are available, you can go and request tickets, get entered into the draw. That's happening over April and May. I think the last one so far announced is like the first week of June. So you got to assume that won't be before June.
Yeah, I was thinking if I were to go off of just guessing
Mm-hmm.
off of like information from the last time, I'd say like mid to late June, maybe early July.
I'm like 90% sure it's June, like mid to late June.
Yeah,
That is my guess.
because
Because
like
it
the
lines up, right? April to June is the exact same kind of length as January to the end of like to the start of
yeah,
March. Like it's around two
that's
months.
that's where I was thinking there.
And I think it makes sense. I think they want this thing out. I think they want this thing out early because they want to get the hardcore fans. Obviously, they'll buy the Switches straight away. They'll want them out of the way so that when it comes to holiday season, the more casual people can go, "Oh, there's a new Switch and there's a Mario Kart and there's this and that. Oh, I know what I'm getting my kid for Christmas." Like they want that
Yeah,
double dip moment. So yeah, I think June makes sense. No later than July. That's what I would go. If it's June or July, that's like they would not go any further than that. If they
it'd be
genuinely went,
nice.
here's the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct in April, see you in October, like no. Like that's like
That'd
not
be hysterical.
I'd cry. I
be
genuinely would cry.
be like, ah, see you in the fall, and then we
The
get like
only
two
thing
more.
that can go up against GTA 6, the Nintendo Switch 2 enters the chat. See
And then
you
we
on
get
the
like
same day.
we get two more directs about Switch One games.
Yeah.
That'd be hysterical. But yeah, I foresee it. It will be interesting to have potentially something happening in the summer for once.
Yeah.
It
100%.
hasn't. It's been a few years since that was the case.
And my guess is, I don't know about you, Hunter. I think that the strategy here is to play by the same playbook of I would assume that every month or so Nintendo Switch 2 will have a big release, is my guess. Is what I
I would assume
would
so.
hope for.
Like they've been this they've been throwing ports and other such like it's not like the A team stuff that they've been bringing us
Oh, but could you
since.
imagine that? Oh, Hunter. Let's bring it back a second. What if it is, say, if it is only, say, every other month? What if they were like, yes, but March again, June, launches with Mario Kart, Metro, whatever it is. And then it's like, and then our next big release is in September. But hey, and in July and August, here's your Breath of the Wild update. Here's your whatever update,
Here are
Xenoblade
these
3
Twilight
update.
Princess
Here's your
Wii U
Yeah,
stuff that you've
yeah.
been
Did you
asking
buy
for.
Xenoblade X earlier in the year? Here's the update. Just like if they just start padding out like, 'cause I think that could be a great way of like, maybe they don't have, maybe they, are running a bit fine on games, and it's like, oh, we can chuck some stuff in there. I feel like the thing that I'm really excited about with the Switch 2 is, at least to me, obviously we can't judge it based on that Mario Kart footage, but again, it's the first time that Nintendo has had a step up in power in terms of a console in like 13 years. So just even if it is just like, hey, I love the Switch. I love the Switch to death, but we all have to admit that a lot of the games get out of the door as we're working, like we're functioning. There's sometimes you're playing like I love Xenoblade 3. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But there are points where I'm like, do I need new glasses because it's a bit blurry in here? Like just to have those little ports and updates, I think it could be a great way of just being like, hey, here's a little something for you while you're waiting.
Yeah,
Keep the early adopters happy. I think that it'll be a pretty jam packed year though. If they're showing Mario Kart now, I think it's going to be a
yeah.
pretty jam packed year for Nintendo.
I
Launch
still
on.
feel like it'd be likely to see 3D Mario by the end of the year.
Is that what I think? Right, let's go back. Let's start back at launch, right? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this, I hope you sit down, enjoy yourself, because there's nothing but joy to talk about with Nintendo. When we get to the other dumb fucks, probably we'll get less positive as we go through the podcast. Um, but if we go back to launch, right? Obviously, next few months, we've just they just berated Donkey Kong by announcing the Switch 2 on the same day, which is very funny. If we had gone back in time and watched the summer Nintendo Direct where they announced Donkey Kong and went, "That's Switch 2 day, by the way," that'd be really
That would have
funny.
been funny. Yeah.
Just go back in time and go, "By the way, no one's going to be playing that, and Nate the Hate's going to leak the Switch 2 for the same day," just so you're aware. Um, but we've got Xenoblade coming out in March, Xenoblade X in March. This Direct in April, right? Potentially, if there's that February Direct, maybe a couple of other games. Maybe there's one last, little. I assume it. By the way,
Splatoon 1 10th anniversary
no,
in
fuck
May.
off. Like, actually kill. No, no, kill that idea straight away. No, we're not doing that.
It's too late, Ethan. I've said it too many times. If I've spoken it into existence, I can't unspeak it.
No, but I'm assuming that that'll be like smaller games, like little showcase stuff.
Yeah.
But we get to April, they show off some stuff. I assume that April showcase will be pretty big. I assume that'll be third-party stuff. That'll be the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Do you think that obviously they're going to drop the date and price? Do you think they just straight out go, "Here's the whole of the first year lineup. Like, here you go. Here we're up till Christmas or beyond." Straight away.
I don't know if it would be that necessarily. I could see it being like the first couple of months and then maybe one thing for later in the year as far as what Nintendo themselves are doing. I could imagine maybe they have, partnerships that fill in the gaps.
Because my guess is
Like,
this
I don't
Nintendo
know.
Switch. I think this Nintendo Direct in February, plus the Pokemon Presents. I think this gives them the opportunity to showcase all the Switch 1 games that are going to come out after Switch 2's launch that aren't
Yeah.
Switch 2 stuff, like Pokemon
Like
Legends
Metroid,
ZA,
probably.
maybe Metroid. Professor Layton, I think, is going to be one of those games that just trickles out at the same time and isn't a Switch 2 game necessarily.
Yeah.
But do you think Metroid is going to be a launch title for Nintendo Switch 2, Hunter? The big question. The argument that we have had basically the entire past 18 months, basically. How, like... Because I've been...
Not on the day, I don't think.
Really?
Like, I could see it being in the general, like, maybe in the next month. I don't. Summer feels like a weird time for Metroid.
That's what I'm thinking.
Going off of the assumption that it is the summer.
I've also, right...
But...
I don't want to get on my soapbox, as I usually do, because, I'm very proud and bashful on this podcast. But I remember, even when we were talking this time last year about the Switch 2 coming out in 2024, oh, how the times have changed. I remember saying very specifically, because I was like, all these people that keep saying that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the launch title are stupid. And now that we've seen Mario Kart 9 for 5 seconds, I'm like, yeah, that's the launch game then. Like, it's definitely not Metroid. Why would they do that? Like, Mario Kart and Metroid on the same day seems like the worst, like, marketing decision of all time. Like, that seems like a really bad way. Unless it is like
that would really kneecap as far as like anything that would potentially anyone else knew that Metroid would potentially sell to would just buy Mario Kart.
I think it would
instead,
kneecap
probably.
any game that Nintendo makes.
Yeah, like you'd still get like the Metroid freaks like myself who are like, to definitely take that instead, but that's not very many people.
I think it's like, I would sit there and I'd go, like, you're going to have your party game. You're going to have your Nintendo Land, your 1-2 Switch, your Wii Sports. You're going to have that because Nintendo always has a second game. They always have a second launch game, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just the thing that cracked me up was remembering that 1-2 Switch was a game that you actually had to purchase separately.
Yeah, that was dumb. It was dumb. Hey, technically, so was Nintendo Land if you bought the basic Wii U set. But
I bought the Wii. We got the Wii U really late, so like, I don't know if we ever had.
Dude, my Wii U
Nintendo
came with
Land.
Mario Kart 8. That's
Yeah.
what I got with mine. But you assume that that's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be Mario Kart 9 and the bargain bin Nintendo Switch 2 game. The game that will be that every child that is 8 years old will get and will not really play that much. That will be the second launch title. And then I'd assume, God, I would, if I was Nintendo, I'd save Metroid for like September or October. That's where I'd stay. I'd just be like, hey, it's coming to both. You will still, if you've
Yeah.
got a Switch One, you can play it on Switch One. But I don't know, fall is a Metroid time to me. Like that's when you
Yeah, that's when
release
Dread
that kind of
released.
thing.
That's when a lot of
Or
the
like
games
August
and
minimum. August minimum is like,
yeah.
because I think did Metroid 2 3DS come out in like August or something like that?
I don't remember anymore. I just know that most of the dates for it have been, or at least a lot of them that come off the top of my head have been in the fall. Like that's when Prime and Fusion came out the
Yeah.
first time. That's when Dread was out, was in October.
October's a great month for Metroid. It really is. It's a good month.
Yeah, it's
But
like a
also that's like
good
3D
pseudo
platform. That's
horror.
3D Mario release timing because Odyssey was October, so maybe they would want to stay clear of
Mm.
that. Um, it's hard to predict what Nintendo will do because Nintendo will never stick to a particular
They
plan.
don't have a pattern.
The only
Anything that
pattern
you
that they
try
have
to
is that 3D Mario usually comes within the first year of a Nintendo console. So yeah, I think there is
yeah.
a high likelihood that you will have a 3D Mario by the end of this year. I would
Especially
say.
since we just had a 2D Mario in 2023, so like the chances of there being a substitution there, I don't think are
Also,
very high.
I don't want to meta game it too much, but when they did your Switch 1 games work on Switch 2, in all of the assets, they're using Mario Wonder as the Switch 1 game. And to me,
Mm,
I'm like, would you be putting Mario Wonder as the Switch? If you had a 2D Mario lined up, I don't think you would be putting Mario Wonder as your backwards compatible, like little
yeah.
icon right there. So I feel like you've got a strong likelihood of 3D Mario also showing up. Otherwise, God knows what's happening. I feel like I think you're more likely to get Zelda ports than you are to hear anything Zelda related.
I feel like now is the time where they're gonna dust off those ports because like I didn't even think Echoes of Wisdom was something that could be asked for last year, so y-
Yeah,
now I feel like the well is tapped for brand new stuff.
100%. I think you
Unless they
either.
unless they're like, here you go, Triforce Heroes 2.
Oh no. I think you're highly likely to either get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess or next gen patches for Breath of the Wild and
Yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom, or maybe both.
yeah, possible. Although
Who knows?
I'm more of the opinion that they're gonna break up. The Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are not coming together.
Yeah, that would. I 100% agree.
Yeah, yeah, like because they've been rumored together for so long. I think people have been under the erroneous assumption that it would be like a double pack or something,
It'll
and
also be
that's not gonna
interesting if they
happen.
come to
They'll be
both. Will they?
separated
Yeah.
by like
Will they come to
I
both?
don't see any reason that they couldn't, besides I guess being a little annoying.
Just being mean. Yeah.
Yeah, being just ever so slightly anti-consumer there, but I don't know why you wouldn't from their perspective either, because for a little while anyway, more people are going to have a Switch than a Switch 2.
True.
So there's no reason to cut off a market that you don't need to for something that wouldn't be hard to make for it.
It is interesting though that you know because we haven't seen Nintendo really. They've had like crossover games where they've had your Twilight Princesses, they've had your Breath of the Wilds, where there's like one or two maybe that cross over that barrier. And I
Yeah.
think it's interesting because you do have that message where they're like, Nintendo Switch 2 plays Nintendo Switch and plays Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive content, which to me already feels like they're trying to draw that line where they're like, there will be a couple of games that are on both. We're not doing the Sony everything is basically on both of them. It feels like they
Oh
are
yeah,
trying
there's
to
no
draw that
chance.
line a lot more where they are
I
literally
feel
like,
like
you'll
Nintendo
get your Metroid and that's all you're fucking getting.
I feel like the only reasons that the games that have even, made this crossover before have been because they were advertised for the other one for so long
oh, 100%.
that you
Metroid Prime
could
4 is
you
100% one of those
yeah,
games.
like you can't just rug pull that from people now. That'd be messed up.
Yeah, because there will 100% be people that bought a Switch in 2017 because of Metroid, and are still
Yeah.
waiting. Obviously, they've played some other stuff in between then, but they did originally buy it on that promise of Metroid Prime 4, I'm sure. Um, I think, it's going to be a fun year for Nintendo. I think, it's Nintendo's year to shine, really, because, the rest
Yeah.
of the industry is absolutely terrified of Grand Theft Auto 6. And
Yeah, and
they're just going to
Nintendo
stay
I don't
clear.
think cares.
And Nintendo doesn't care. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they know that, hey, if GTA 6 is October and there's a 3D Mario also out in October, congratulations to both of them because they're both going to do excellent and they're both going to do well and they're both going to sell a crap ton of copies. Because I think Nintendo
Yeah.
is one of the only companies that can compete with anybody and just be fine. They can just
Yeah.
release anything whenever they want and just be fine.
Yeah. So do you think the first year of the Switch 2 is going to be as good as the first year of the Switch?
No,
Yeah. That that would be hard.
it'd be very difficult. And I think it's
Yeah.
because some of the
I
studios
just
that you're
figured
after,
it was
some of the studios you're after are kind of out of the picture. Like, the Zelda
yeah,
team
like
is out of the
if
picture.
Tears of the Kingdom hadn't come out already, I could
Hmm.
like if that was something that was, more close to if Tears of the Kingdom was like in Metroid Prime's position, I could see a possibility
Well, this is
where
like,
it's potential
yeah,
the potential there,
100%. You also had the weird stuff. You had like Mario Rabbids and all that kind of. There
Yeah.
was a lot of weird stuff happening. I do,
Arms.
yeah. Arms. You got Xenoblade 2, which obviously I 100% think Monolith is out of the question. Uh, Not because of Xenoblade X, but because Xenoblade 2 only came out in 2023. So I think they are working on whatever's next. But I think,
Xenoblade 3 came out in 2022.
was it 2022? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? No, Future Redeemed was 2023. My God. Still, I don't think it's been long enough. I think they might be 2026.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'll put it this way. I think Nintendo Switch 1 will have the stronger first year. I think Nintendo Switch 2 will have the stronger second year.
Yeah.
Because I think Switch 1 was extremely front loaded, and then year 2 you got like a shitty Yoshi game, a shitty Kirby game, and Smash Bros. And I think in year 2 it'll be a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
I'd be expecting within the
And then
first two
after year 2, they're
years.
going to ask for a new everyone's going to ask for a new one anyway, so
I think within the first 2 years, you will see, and you can quote me on this, and I can't wait to be proven wrong. But I think obviously you'll see Mario Kart. Can say that one safely now. But I think you'll see a 3D Mario. I think you will see a Mario. You'll see Mario Kart. Obviously, I think you will see uh, Animal Crossing within the first 2 years of Switch 2, because it has been 5 years
it
since the
has
last
been a
one.
while now, yeah. It's true.
Uh, I think you'll see. Um, I think you'll see Smash Bros. I really do. I think you'll probably see Smash Bros. Because from judging by what the whole Sakurai's YouTube channel stuff, it seems like he started working on his next project about 3 years ago. So I think you will see it within the
Yeah.
first 2 years. Uh, I
I
think you'll see
don't
Fire
want to
Emblem as
see it
well.
that
I think
early.
you'll see Fire Emblem as
Yeah,
well. In fact,
that's a good
I'd
one
put
because
I'd put a low key bet. I think you'll see a Fire Emblem the first year of Switch. I think you'll see a new Fire Emblem in the.
you'll
You
see
might
a new
get
Fire
a
Emblem
Fire Emblem this
by
year.
the
You might get it this
by
year.
the end of year 2, they'll probably already be on a Fire Emblem spin-off that they're showing you.
100%. You can just only hope that it's more on the Three Houses spectrum than the Engage spectrum, because my gosh,
Yeah.
um, what a glow down. But I think there's the beauty of Switch 2 is that Nintendo is in a really good spot where, unlike Sony, where, the last year, 2 years of PS4, all of their big developers had basically just released a final game for their console. A lot of the big IPs from Nintendo have kind of not shown up since like 2023 or earlier. So there's been
Yeah.
this gap where it's like, yeah, Kirby can 100% show up in the first year.
Kirby's probably going to show up in the first 2 years like 3 times.
Yeah, probably.
At the
Um,
rate that Kirby shows up in things.
Nin- the thing you've always got to remember, guys, about Nintendo is Nintendo's library is heavily front loaded in every generation. They love
It's
to get
true.
their big IPs out quickly so they can sell millions of units as the years go by, a la Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or, Smash Bros. Everyone was like, Smash Bros is coming out this early, and I'm like, yes, because probably everyone bought a Wii U. The people that did buy a Wii U bought them for Mario Kart 8 and Smash, and they came out too late. Like it's
Yeah.
like they want these big system sellers out so they can just keep trickling. Animal Crossing as well. Just keep that money trickling in. So yeah, I think expect big things, Hunter. I think expect big things. I think expect some really fun surprises in that April direct. I think, quote me on this one, I think the April direct, I think the April Nintendo direct will be more well received than the January Switch direct. I don't think there'll be a trailer as good as the Breath of the Wild trailer, but I think people forget how mediocre the rest of the presentation was on that, the original Switch presentation. Because they showed some really, they showed cool games, but it was such a bad presentation from a actual, you know, standpoint, like performance standpoint, like having a load of people come up on stage and it was all live and it was all a bit tragic. So, yeah, look forward to it, guys. What do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch 2? Where do you think everything's going to line up? Let us know in the description if you're on YouTube, or you can contact us on the emails and stuff. Links are in the bio for all of that. You back with us, Hunter?
I am.
I could tell that I was just talking to myself for a little bit, so I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hello."
I almost came back in doing this because the first thing I heard you say was links.
Basically, all you missed was I basically said I think that the Nintendo Direct in April will be better received than the January Switch presentation. I think that is a guarantee. Because other than
It's
the Breath of
crazy
the
to
Wild
think.
trailer, the rest of it was mid.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious to think about, considering that Nintendo Switch was such a great launch.
But the
That
presentation was so bad.
nobody liked that presentation.
Yeah, I think you're going to see less of, oh, it's the Mario Kart port, or it's Splatoon 2 that looks very similar to Splatoon 1. I think it's going to be more of, oh, that's cool. Oh, cool. I think, oh, that's, Mario Kart's 24 players? That's it. That's weird. Let's see how that goes. Luigi's Mansion 4? That's crazy already? Wow.
Oh man, you're right. He's due.
It's the year of Luigi. It always is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nintendo Switch is over. Just like PlayStation, am I right, guys? Just like PlayStation
God,
as a brand.
put a fork in this generation for them. Sweet cheese.
So, if you missed the news earlier this week or last week, PlayStation announced that they were cancelling yet and again, another two projects. One by Sony Bend, which was Sony Bend's third attempt at making a game since Days Gone. My God. Uh,
This poor studio,
yeah, it was a
man.
live service game, which we don't know too much about other than it was a new IP. And uh, beloved Bluepoint Games got their live service God of War game cancelled, which, my God, if I never wanted to hear a sentence in my life, it was Bluepoint was making a games as a service God of War game.
Yeah, there's no developer in the world that I would want to hear preface is making a games as a service God of War game.
Yeah. Which is
Like,
left, yeah. And
like
this is
there's
just mass. It's just, oh, fuck it. It's just, what a disaster. What a disaster.
heinous misuse of Blue Point. Like when they were acquired, everyone was like, "Oh man, I hope they get to make something original, or work to maybe make a new version of an IP that that doesn't have a team right now."
Yeah.
Not definitely not games as a service God of War, because there's no reality where that isn't bad.
I mean, how do you even do that?
I
Like,
don't
I'd be
know.
really interested because you can't play as Kratos. So is it just in the world of God of War? That sounds so miserable. It genuinely right. It genuinely sounds miserable. I think
Like, what are they gonna
it's
do? Make up the rest of the Norse pantheon that you didn't get to see, and it'd be like, "Oh, I'll play as these dorks."
yeah, like I don't know. I feel like what a disaster for both of these studios. Obviously, let's talk about 2025. Going into 2025, not the best start for PlayStation, but let's be real. I don't think I've ever said, "Ooh, good start for PlayStation" during the entirety of this generation. Maybe in 2022 when they had Horizon show up in February. was the last time that
Yeah,
I was like,
Horizon
oh.
and God of War was likely, you know.
But yeah, there's currently. Am I right in thinking there's just currently two games announced for
Mhm.
2025 for PlayStation?
As far as yeah, Ghost of Yote and Death Stranding, right?
Yeah, that's as far as I'm
As
aware.
far as far as I can remember, those are the only things that are, dated from now or have a
From
window, I should
PlayStation
say. Neither of
Studios,
them.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's the rumor that the Horizon multiplayer project is coming out this year, and I don't know.
Let's hear it for two.
Oh dear. Like,
A
here's the
2 to
thing,
8
right?
success rate for
Is
releases. Not even reception yet, but
I think we've
releases.
got I think we have to, I hate what happened with Concord and Firewalk because it's a tragedy to lose for all those jobs to go and for a lot of talent and money to be wasted on a project that was obviously never going to work from the fucking start. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's sad. But it seems like it has really lit a fire under Sony's arse because apparently both these games got cancelled because of the Concord failure. They basically just were like, yeah, scrap it, which makes sense to me. I don't know why Sony is chasing these games as a service dream. It is very difficult to make it in that market. It is usually a fluke if you do. Helldivers 2 was not a calculated risk, if in my opinion. I think that is genuinely
Yeah,
you
they
got
did.
lucky.
I don't
I
think
think
they
that was
thought that
luck.
that was going to be the one that works.
No.
Yeah. They were
They
probably really banking on that being the Last of Us one, but that got canceled.
Yeah,
So,
100%. And when you look at what's been cancelled, you're just like, my god. So many games have been cancelled in the past 3 years, if that.
yeah.
We've had so many games that have been cancelled. These are just two, not
The-
including the
the-
Last of Us factions, not including Deviation Games, which just got shuttered basically got absorbed and shuttered, and now working on other Bungie games. There are still live service games that are scheduled, like the Horizon Monster Hunter game, like uh, Fair Game Dollar
Fair
Sign,
game dollar sign.
like Marathon from
Is Mar
Bungie.
Yeah, I was about to ask, is Marathon a games as a service, or is it just like
Yes,
gonna be a shoot?
it's an
Okay, I couldn't
extraction
remember.
shooter, so yes, it is. It is. It's a Tarkov kind of thing.
Isn't that what
So
isn't that what fair game dollar sign is?
no, that's a payday like.
God. Okay, that's the problem with these games.
Oh no, it
They're
gets
all
stupider. So
they're
you've
all
got
like vague
Marathon.
flavors of
The
this is
other
like the
two,
cookies and cream flavored Oreos.
the other two projects that Bungie are working on, apparently, we don't know what one of them is, but we know that it's being led by. It was spun out of Bungie and is being led by Jason Blundell, who worked on Call of Duty for a long time. So you've got to assume that that is probably a shooter. Um,
Yeah.
and because of Jason Blundell was very much known, he worked on the campaigns and the zombies modes for Treyarch. So you've got to assume. My guess is that that game's a co-op game. That would be my guess. Whatever it is, it's just a co-op game. And then the other one is
Mm.
apparently it's that Gummy Bear Project Gummy Bear or whatever it's called, where it's a MOBA inspired by Smash Bros, which sounds like Concord
That
3.
doesn't sound MOBA inspired by Smash Bros.
Yeah, so
Doesn't sound
apparently the rumor is it's a
possible.
MOBA, but instead of you having health, you have damage like Smash, so you get knocked out of the arena the more damage you take, like Smash Bros.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Um,
So that I guess that would be the fourth one probably.
yeah, I have no clue what's left. I think there's one project that we don't know that's still in development that
Yeah.
we haven't heard of from the games of a service side of
I'm
things.
going off of like they said that it was 12 that they greenlit, right?
Yeah, and
And
we
I
know that
think
7 were
going off of
cancelled,
yeah, 7 um
so there's
I
5
guess that would be
left.
5. Okay.
So there's 5
Well,
left, and so there's
7
Horizon.
were canceled and then
Horizon
Helldivers
Fair
came
Games.
out.
Oh yeah, so maybe that is all that we've got left is the 3 Bungie
Yeah,
games, Fair Games,
Horizon,
and
Fair
Horizon.
Game
Maybe that's
dollar
it.
sign and then yeah.
But I
And
don't
like
know.
I guess
Yeah,
Horizon is going to come out according to what people are saying, but who knows? It's
I think
too
that's gonna.
late.
I'll happily tell you this. I think that's gonna bomb.
Probably, and then the plug will be pulled.
Yeah, 100%.
in short order. Like, and honestly, maybe it's only because the other ones are just vague notions in the mind, and I've seen Fair Game Dollar Sign at least once. But that's the only other one I could
Oh, I
foresee
don't. Here's the thing: is
making
I
it
don't
to
think
release.
I don't think Fair Games is going to make it either. I really don't,
You don't think it's
because
gonna make it to release?
no,
Or
no.
okay, fair enough.
I think that it sits in development for another year and then gets cancelled.
Ah,
Because here's the problem now: is every single time Sony releases a multiplayer game, it doesn't. Here's the thing: is I think the next Sony Games as a Service release is doomed to failure from the beginning, no matter what it is, because everyone is going to describe it as Sony's next Concord. Those are the words that everyone is going to use.
yeah,
Is it's
probably.
Sony's next Concord? Because everyone's going to go, oh, this game's great. Even if it's the best fucking game that they've ever played in their life, they go, this game's great. But remember when Concord came out and they pulled the plug within a week?
Yeah,
Like, it's. I am pretty locked in now with saying that I think I can confidently say this. 5 years, in year 5 of the PlayStation 5, I think that I am confident in saying now that the PlayStation 5 generation is most likely the worst PlayStation generation. I'm pretty confident in saying that now. That I think that it is the
yeah.
worst console generation of PlayStation.
They'd have to really pull it back to, and even then,
Which they
the
can't,
best
because
they
they've got
could,
no fucking studios.
yeah, and even yeah, and what I was about to say, and even then, the best they can do is hope to beat PS3.
They have got. Yeah.
I don't think they go above that ceiling, regardless of what comes out.
They have got potentially 3 years of games left. We are
Yeah,
genuinely sitting here where we can say that, Death Stranding, Ghost of Yotei, Intergalactic, these could be like the three of the latter half. Because, PlayStation 5 could be 2027 or 2028. PlayStation 6, sorry, could
yeah,
be 2027 or 2028. We're in the latter half here.
yeah.
And what have we
Which, you
had?
know,
What have we had?
yeah,
Legitimately, what have we had
and
that
the
you couldn't
latter
have
half
played on
is when
PS4?
things started getting better in the last generation, and as it turns out, all of the games that would have been coming out when things started getting better have been canceled because they're chasing a stupid strategy.
And what was the first half that we had? Oh, yeah. Well, we've had Horizon Forbidden West, and we've had God of War Ragnarok, both available on PS4.
Yeah,
We had Demon Souls, a remake, which was nice. We had Ratchet and Clank, which is always nice to see. We usually get one of those every generation. We had Marvel Spider-Man 2, which I think is great. I think it's fantastic.
yeah,
Um, Looking back in retrospect, I think it's a worse game than Spider-Man 1 in terms of a story, in terms of everything, where I'm like, yes, I think the gameplay is more fun in Spider-Man 2, but I think I had a better time with Spider-Man 1 just because of everything else in retrospect. Um, which is fine, you know. You can't you can't always be better, it's still good, it's still a
yeah.
fantastic game. And we had Astrobot, which I love. I adore Astrobot. Astrobot is the
Well,
highlight
we also
of this
had
generation.
Returnal.
And Returnal. Fucking
I don't want
Returnal.
to skip over
No,
that one
sorry,
because
I
that's been
adored Returnal's my second
before.
favorite. Returnal's my
Yeah,
second
before
favorite. Yeah.
Astrobot, it was easily the best game on this generation so far for PlayStation.
Like, genuinely, what have we got left? Because here's the thing: Intergalactic will be Naughty Dog's only PS5 release. I can tell you that right
Yeah,
now. Ghost of
and then
Yotei,
for a long time, it'll be their only PlayStation 6
yeah,
release.
yeah. Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2. They'll obviously be the only games that those two studios make for the PS5. Wolverine will probably be the last Insomniac game for PS5.
Yeah.
What else? Bend cancelled. Did a live service game.
Ben doesn't get to make a game
Blue Point
anymore, and
made a live
that's
service game. Cancelled.
yeah.
We've just, Team Asobi will probably not make another game for the PS5. Likelihood is that it'll be a PS6 launch game.
Like maybe Cory Barlog's game,
Maybe Cory Barlog's game.
and it's like I don't know. They seem to at least PlayStation hit the pace of two moderately successful to really good games from their own studios a year.
Now that
But
I feel like
that's
maybe you'll get one.
now they're fizzling out. Yeah, because like this year we're gonna get Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding.
Hopefully.
Yeah, Yeah, assuming neither one of them gets pushed. And then next year, toss up from there. And
I my
we
guess
just,
next year, my guess is you'd get Wolverine,
yeah, probably
but again, or
Wolverine,
maybe
and then,
Maybe Intergalactic as well.
yeah. And then that just leaves like what's left for the rest of the thing's life. And what do you have for the, start of the life of the next one at this point? They are at a,
Nothing. Like
yeah.
and here's the problem: is this is what I was having this conversation with you yesterday, Hunter, where it's like I will stand by this, and I truly think this. I don't think we will ever see another video game from Sony Bend ever again. I think they will
It
probably
sucks to
start.
say
I think
too,
Sony will
because
keep Bend alive for about a year, just so that they can say that they didn't shut the studio down because of these fucking stupid commitments to live service as this kind of goose chase that they've gone on to. That they'll start working and then they'll go, we need to save money, and then they'll drop them.
it really sucks to say, because Ben deserves better than that too. Because like ever since Days Gone came out, it feels like
Can
they've
you just
been.
imagine the world for a second where they had just made Days Gone 2? It would have been out by now.
It would have been out by now. People would have
Would
prob.
have been
I
well
think it would have
received.
been.
I
It
think
would have
probably
been
would have been well
more
received.
well received than the first one. It would have been relatively well received compared to Concord.
100%.
Or yeah, it's stupid that they didn't let them make a sequel to that game.
100%.
And
And
now you've made them sit in purgatory doing whatever you tell them to only yank the rug out from under them, and you're gonna close them probably, and that
yeah,
sucks.
my guess is they either start something that never gets finished and you won't see the light of day, or they just stick them as a support studio for something else and go, guys, in the meantime, do you want to help finish Cory Barlog's game? Yeah?
Yeah,
And then just pull the plug once all that stuff's sorted.
which sucks.
Which sucks. And I
Yeah,
genuinely, and I also I think that Bluepoint has a higher chance because Bluepoint's a small team. Bluepoint's like a team of
yeah.
60 people or something like that, 70 people. I think Bluepoint has a higher chance. I think they just go straight back to making a remake. I think they'll just get chucked on. I hate to say this as a cynic, but I think there'll genuinely be a part where they're just like, go and remake Bloodborne.
Yeah, we need goodwill.
Yeah,
Let's hit the fire alarm that we've been
yeah. I genuinely think that's
sitting
what
on
I know.
forever.
That there was an interview with Shu with Kind of Funny this week, where
Yeah,
Shuhei Yoshida was like, obviously From and Miyazaki really did love Bloodborne, and I think Sony, out of
yeah.
respect, has not wanted to touch it. I think this is the kind of situation where someone like Herman Hulst goes, I don't care, make Bloodborne, remake Bloodborne.
Well, if it
Well,
isn't the
well, well.
consequences
Yeah,
of my own actions,
yeah,
it's fire alarm.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's gonna be great too, because if and when that happens, I'll be sitting there going, I know what you're doing. I hate
When
you
Bloodborne
for
comes
it. But
back now, we
also,
know the reason. We know the reason.
I'm gonna be sitting there going, I know what you're doing and I hate you for it, but also
Because they made
probably gonna
They
buy
made
it.
Demon Souls remake in
Yeah.
like 2 years.
Yeah, and
So
then
there's a
it's
100%
proven
a
that they can
chance
handle
that we
that.
can get to PlayStation 6 and that'll be a launch game. Still.
Yeah.
And we'll sit there and we'll go, we know what you're fucking done. We know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can't fool me. Like, genuinely, it just, it honestly angers me. It really does. This new board, this new group of individuals running Sony and the PlayStation production side is just like abysmal. It really is
Absolute
abysmal.
disaster so far.
Here's the
Like
thing,
it's
right? Was we clown on the PS3 era, but what I can't clown on the PS3 with the console's the problem with the PS3. I
yeah.
cannot blame the developers and what they were making in terms of IP and get creatives and actual content that was coming out. Because when you look back at that era and you think of all the stuff that was coming out, Insomniac was making Resistance and Ratchet and Clank and made trilogies of both of them at the exact same time. Killzone got a couple of entries from Guerrilla.
Yeah.
You have Naughty Dog creating the Uncharted trilogy and The Last of Us. You have Little Big Planet 1 and 2 from Media Molecule. Poor Media Molecule. What are they working on?
Yeah, I wonder, maybe they'll get something out by the end of this console's life, because no, it
Maybe,
was
but
only
will it just
last
be a
year
Little
that
Big
Dreams got.
Planet?
I don't know.
Are they just going to chuck them
Who
back on that
knows?
mine?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we just did that 3x3 episode for PS3 generation, and it's like this happens most of the time when I make those anyway, but like really the only if we were to do that for this generation by the end, it'll literally just be things I happened to play on PS5.
Yeah. There's not. Here's the thing: is what we were sitting over like. Here's the best things to come out of the PS5. Returnal,
Returnal, Astrobot, a bunch of things that you
and
could play on.
even then, I'm still sticking an asterisk because I love Astrobot to death. I think Astrobot is brilliant. It's one of the best platformers ever made. Also, Astro had a VR game on the PS4.
Yeah,
That was the base of it all. So I can't even say that it was for the PS5 was created in that era, because it is very much
yeah.
it's his first big platforming
Oh yeah,
outing for
if
the
you're boiling
console.
it
But
down to
when I'm
just
looking at
new
of yeah,
ideas,
iconic ideas
yeah,
from PlayStation, every console generation prior has had them.
yeah.
Even PS4 when we go, okay,
We
you
still had
know,
Aloy and Jin for new faces.
Yeah, Aloy
For
and
as much as
Jin.
people may or may not care about them as characters, they're still
And even then,
recognizable to some extent.
I would even go far as to say, obviously, you had stuff like Dreams
Yeah,
that came out during that era. Um, you obviously had it was kind of a mix between the PS3 and PS4 generations because Gravity Rush came out in that weird period because it was Vita. But you have
yeah.
the Japan Studio stuff that was still happening. The Last Guardian finally came out as part of the PS4 generation. You can even say that even
But,
though they're
well,
not original characters or original iterations, the 2018 God of War version of Kratos is essentially a better take on that
it
original character. It
redefined the
redefined him.
character. Yeah.
Spider Man is not a PlayStation icon, but the Insomniac Spider Man games made a name for
Yeah, the
superhero games
PlayStation
once again.
Spider-Man means
Yeah.
something as a phrase instead of just, that, you know, attaching webs to the moon
Yeah, 100, like
on the PS1.
100. And then you have all the Days Gone, Deacon, obviously. You
Yeah,
have
Deacon.
even the weird stuff like Order 1886. There was so much weird stuff on the piece. Like
Knack,
people,
for as
knack.
much as
People,
people
yeah,
clown on it.
knack. People tend to make fun of PlayStation 4 generation and go, oh, it wasn't the same as the rest of them. It was, I'm like, look at PS5 in comparison. Genuinely look at PS5 and tell me what there is. Astrobot was technically PS4 because that's where Astro came from for VR, for PSVR. It's like you look at PS5 and you genuinely can just go, Returnal.
Returnal, which they made and released before they were acquired.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
genuinely it. Everything else has been sequels.
Yeah, and like even though like we've got the intergalactic game on the horizon,
Didn't even mention
we
Sam Porter Bridges, by the way, for Death Stranding,
eh,
the
yeah.
PS4.
And like even though that intergalactic game is like on the, in the next couple of years, I
Yeah.
don't know. It feels like it's going to be more of the same but in space as
And hear
far
me out.
as
I also
tone and
feel like we're equally going to see that as a PS6 game. So I think it's going to be a
yeah,
late cycle PS5 game. It's going to get a remaster on PS6 and then a sequel on PS6. So it'll probably be considered more of a like similar to how Last of Us is more considered a PS4 thing, you know. Um,
yeah.
but it really makes me upset the PS5 because the thing is as a console, I love the PS5 as a
It's perfectly
console.
fine as a machine. Yeah.
It was such a step up in terms of quality, in terms of like quality of life, in terms of the UI being quicker and snappier, in terms of SSDs really changing the way that we played video games, in terms of when you go back to play PS4 games and you realize how much time you actually did spend on loading screens waiting for stuff to actually happen. It's crazy that we thought it was acceptable to when you go and boot up GTA 5 that you can go away for 2 minutes and come back and it'll finally finish loading. That is ridiculous, when you look back at it in
Good old
hindsight.
Dragon Age loading screens.
Yeah,
Inquisition, I could literally like run to the bathroom and come back, and I'd have just been loaded in. Some of the
Uncharted
textures would
4.
still be coming in.
Do you remember in Uncharted 4 where it was like, guys, the game's seamless, but every time you start the game, you just need to do one big load that's like 90 seconds long. But once you've done that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god. Or fast traveling in like games where you
Oh
have
yeah,
like
fast
proper
traveling
load
in
screens.
anything. Yeah,
Like genuinely, the PS4 Xbox Series generation has really, in terms of quality of life, has stepped things up dramatically. but there's been nothing to show for it in terms of games. And I don't even really, you know, I almost also say that it's like there's been so many great things that have come out from third parties for this generation too, but also none of it
Yeah,
feels yet because no one's fully committed over to PS5. None of it truly feels like we've not had those games on third party because it's like, oh yeah, we had Elden Ring, you can play that on PS4.
yeah.
You
Like
know,
as like
we've
as
had Final
late
Fantasy
as
VII Rebirth, and I'm like, that's great, I loved it, but you know, they could have made that work on PS4 if they really wanted to. Let's be honest. We all know that
they
they
made
could have.
they made remake work, they could have just chunked
Yeah.
it up a little bit, you know.
If anything, I'll sit in there going, it was a miracle they got
We've seen
remake to
some
work on
games go
PS4.
in reverse,
Yeah.
like
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi. Yeah,
Jedi Survivor went, actually, I don't feel like being next gen exclusive anymore. I'm just going to go back. And it's the more complete
and then
version because it
yeah, I was
runs
gonna say,
better
and
on
it's arguably
PS5.
better.
It runs better. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like, I just, or, I sit there and I'm like, okay, let's go back and look at like the last year, right? Where it's like I look at like Life is Strange Double Exposure could have run on PS4. It ran on Switch. Don't tell me that you did that just for the fucking sake of it. Don't
yeah,
lie. Or it's like Astrobot could have 100% have run on it. It could have been a Switch game for all you care because it's just so damn good. It's
yeah,
so damn good, but it's not like I just sit here and I'm like PS5 is gonna be the generation where Sony lost its soul. It just is.
yeah,
There are little glimmers of hope like Astrobot and Returnal that every so often remind us that, hey, these developers can make something truly special when they're given the time and respect to do so. But you also know, it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I thought Ragnarok was fantastic. It
yeah.
also was more God of War 2018. I loved Horizon Forbidden West. I think Horizon Forbidden West, shoot me for this, I think Horizon Forbidden West is better than Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it is. I think it's the better game.
I thought as much when I got at the end of it. Yeah,
But at the same
yeah.
time, it was more Horizon. Spider Man 2 is more Spider Man. It's just like, I feel like there's just no source with PlayStation this generation. There really
It's
isn't.
crazy how cyclical this is because really it's a much more dramatic and expensive version of examining the PS2 and PS3 generations if you were to examine PS4 to PS5.
Yeah. I think odd
Because
numbered
like
I think odd numbered Sony consoles are cursed other than the PS1, which they
yeah, and
technically
that's
were calling
only
the PSX. So,
yeah,
it
and
kind of skips it.
that's only exempt because it was the first try,
Yeah.
so as long as they could be good enough to get to the next one, that's all they
But
needed
it's
to do.
almost like every other console you know, they get this, they do a good job and then it's to their own hubris they decide to burn every bridge as they go.
It's it's incredibly stupid too because I was it's not like the PS3, none of this was that long ago.
Sony to me reminds me they are the equivalent you know, in the our video game atmosphere, in our video game ecosystem, right? You have um Sony to me is like Apple in terms of phones, where they are just
Yeah.
complacent now in just knowing that they have market share and they're happy to
Mm.
do fuck all with it.
Yeah.
Whereas, Xbox, it seems to be going the Google kind of Android approach where they're like, I don't care who's making the phone, I just want to be on it. And
Yeah.
Nintendo's out there, and Nintendo is like one of those fucking, I don't
They're a
know.
flip phone.
Yeah, they're like the so like they're also androids, but it's like the so like the the what like the Samsung flip phones that are like they're going
Oh
back to
yeah.
the old, but they're still a touchscreen, and you're sitting there going, "What are you doing, you wacky son of a bitch? Like what the fuck?" Nintendo's in their own corner, like sticking their finger up their nose and just having a great time. But it's like, like if if I had to describe, like obviously soulless is one word to describe it, but I would use if someone was like, "Can you describe the PlayStation 5 generation to me in one word?" I would use complacent.
Yeah, definitely. And the annoying thing is like in the PS3 generation, for most of the time, Xbox 360 was, you know, giving them the
Competitive.
business.
Yeah.
So they had to really pivot their strategy and be like, "Oh, we're taking this on the chin because our machine is stupid, and also we have a competitor that we're giving customers away to." This time, it's not so much the case
Yeah,
anymore because of
because
just
the Xbox Series is actually selling worse than the Xbox One now.
yeah.
And meanwhile, the team over at Xbox are sitting there sniffing glue and asking themselves, "Is this an Xbox?" As they're sniffing it, you know, like
It's like for as much as for as often as like once a year at least, I'll want to play a game that I can only play uh, under Xbox's umbrella, but also that's never they've never done enough to incentivize me to buy their machine ever.
yeah, 100%.
Even though like my loyalty with I don't have any loyalty with PlayStation. It's just I buy their machine because I kind of like their first party more.
And that's the problem is I'm in the PlayStation ecosystem, and a lot of us are now. If you are a console gamer, you are in Sony's ecosystem if you started in PS4, because that's where you built up your digital library. That's where you built up your DLC. That's where the likelihood is most of your friends play. And obviously, let's not kid ourselves. We live in a world now where it doesn't matter if your friends own PlayStations. If you want to go and own an Xbox, you can, because there's crossplay and there's Discord and all this stuff. But let's also admit for a second that most normal people don't want to go through the hassle of all of that. So they just go,
Yeah.
my friends have PlayStations, I'm going to buy a PlayStation. And, you know, a lot of people are moving to PC. Like, if you look at the recent data from, you know, revenue for the past 12 months, it seems console sale, in terms of sales of video games, console sales are going down, PC sales are actually going up. So it looks to me like there are, you know, kids nowadays that are choosing to and play more games on PC rather than consoles. And I don't think that Sony is doing a very good job whatsoever
And
of
incentivizing you
actually
to not
incentivizing
do
people.
that.
And I often feel bad for devs when everyone makes the clown show on Twitter or on, you know, social media where it's like PlayStation has no games. And I'm like, it's kind of mean because there are people that are making games for PlayStation and doing a great job about it. But also, they have got a fucking point. Where are the actual exclusives? And I'm not talking about, like, you know, even if they're day and date on PC, I don't care. Where are the fucking exclusives? You know what I mean? Like, where are the games that from your first party studios that you have? You have done nothing but spend more and more money on fucking acquisitions
More and more on yeah, nothing
than
and
ever before, and you've
be
got
being
nothing to show
hard
for it.
carried by anybody else.
Let's be
Like
real here.
it's
That's
a
like,
lucky thing for them that Capcom has not taken a vacation this generation like they,
yeah.
have like in the PS3 kind of era, you know?
Like, listen, I've got nothing personally against Herman Hulst. Like, he is, you know, from from what I've seen, he seems to be a charismatic guy, and he seems to, you know, he's come from a history of, you know, he worked on Gorilla. He's been there for highs and lows. Killzone was not doing too hot, and Horizon was a big win for them, right? It's like he probably knows what it's like, but what the fuck is this game plan? I don't understand how you go from a game plan that, you know, Shuhei Yoshida was the head of Worldwide Studios for 11 years. And those 11 years, from 2008 to 2019, are probably the strongest 11 years in PlayStation history in terms of first party output. And you
Yeah.
go, right, let's fucking sack him off, stick him on some indie thing, just because we can't fire people in Japan. And
Yeah,
then,
because we can't fire people in Japan and he'll oppose our new strategy.
yeah. And then let's get everybody to make a sequel and then also force everybody to make some live service bullshit. It's just dumb.
It's like honestly, and the whole everything landing on a sequel this generation would be way less annoying if instead of the live service games we did just have original ideas coming out from other people.
And that's the
Because like
thing is,
sequels are inevitable. If they do good, this is just how things are gonna go. You
and
got to
it's
make
it's
something.
it's it's really too early to tell, right? This is like you've got the dichotomy here is Concord's failure, Astrobot's success, right? Is
Yeah,
we are starting to see what Concord's failure has led to. More games, live service games are being cancelled by PlayStation. I assume they're going to start investing less into live services. I think they're probably going to go with fewer games that they hope are a hit instead of 6 million games that are all going to fucking flop. That's my hope.
you would think so. Yeah,
Are they going to take any lessons from Astrobot? Are they going to take any of the other way around?
At this
Cheaper
point, you'd
games,
think
smaller
that
games, win game
yeah,
of the
at this
year.
point, you'd think they'd kind of have to make a couple of smaller games just to not be left in a desert
Yeah,
for the next couple of years.
you'd assume so. But it's like, I don't know.
Like,
What
rather
is
than
Sony's
making Ben
audience? That's my
play
question is, what is Sony's audience?
yeah, good
Because
point.
I feel like everybody has got an idea of who their audience is. Nintendo very much knows to a T who the Nintendo audience is. They know how to cater to that demographic. They know how well to cater to that demographic that they can show trailers for games on Nintendo Switch in any Nintendo Direct, and half of the fucking chat will go, "What is this dog shit?" And it will still sell more copies than most PS5 games will in their lifetime.
Yeah,
They know how well
very
to
true.
market those games that they can find a niche and still sell millions of copies. Happily. Xbox has just decided that their audience is anybody that has a fucking screen in front of them. Please play Halo. That is what they've decided. And hey, fair play, Phil. You've got a strategy. Hope it plays out for you, mate. I don't know.
It's a
That
barrier of
genuinely
entry
looks
for
like
me.
Jim Ryan just literally. Jim Ryan decided that he was just going to start throwing shit at a dartboard. And then, Herman Hulst just had to step in and have a look and go, oh, fuck. The dartboard's on the other wall. Why was he aiming at that one? That's like what he's done. What the hell is
Yeah,
happening?
it's like the old someone you're playing chess or you're playing checkers while the other person's playing chess. Jim Ryan was playing like I don't know Scrabble, and Herman Holst came in and looked at a chessboard, and then had to
Yeah.
look behind him and realize that Jim Ryan was playing Scrabble.
Bro, it's even worse than that, dude. It was like it's like they were expected to be. He's like, oh, you're playing some chess, and it's like, oh fuck, I thought this was Monopoly Deal, dude. Like he's like, what the fuck is happening here, dude?
Ugh.
Wait, I just put 400 million on Concord. Fuck, dude. Like, oh no, like that's crazy. It's just I have no hope in Sony. Like genuinely, here's the thing: is if we talk about the big three, they are genuinely at the moment. We always joke and clown on Xbox. They are honestly lesser in my books than Xbox is at the moment. Xbox is a brand. Xbox, Microsoft as a company can fucking rot. But
Yeah,
in the way they treat their employees. But in terms of strategies that we're going for here, I think Sony is dead last in strategy at the moment because they don't seem to have one.
it's comedic too because like they have the reverse. If at least in my own perspective here, they have like the reverse problem where PlayStation has already sold me the box and will struggle to sell me more than 2 games this year,
Mhm.
whereas Xbox has never sold me the box and potentially will sell me 2 or more games this year
Yeah.
because they're just gonna like no Senua's probably coming over from Mutterings.
I mean, let's talk about Xbox. Let's talk about it. We've talked enough
Yeah,
about Sony. I don't
yeah.
think we get anything other than Death
Get your
Stranding
acts together.
and Ghost
Yeah,
of Yotei
nothing
this year.
besides Ghost of Yote and like unless they've got some
Unless Media
I
Molecule
don't know
has a
what they
game.
could possibly have up their sleeve,
Media Molecule.
except
That's
for
the only thing
maybe
I can
Media
think of.
Molecule could slap together something that's small and cool and
That or they've been licensing IP off to a third party and they found that,
yeah.
they've been secretly
But yeah,
working on something.
it'll be another year of them being hard carried by partnerships.
100%. As for Xbox, it seems that this year is the year that Xbox is going to hit full send on their. I can't remember what Project Latitude, I think was the name of the
Project
codename.
Latitude, that sounds right, yeah.
This comes from Nate the Hate, who is just apparently the industry leaker at this point. Everyone just is letting him do the dirty work. And then Jeff Grubb's like, I agree. I do
Thank
love
you,
you,
Jeffy
Jeff.
Grub Grub.
Um, But this also comes from Jez Corden as well. Windows Central also kind of backed it up and said some extra things as well. That it seems that this year is the year that Xbox hits full send. If you are an Xbox fan, though, do not fret. It also looks like you're finally getting some games that you've been wanting for a while. It looks like Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake will both be coming to Xbox this year. Finally, you guys have been waiting, especially for Final Fantasy 7 Remake, for a while. Let's not forget that
Yeah, you
Remake
said
had
remake
one.
a
Yeah,
second ago, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, let's
And
not
I had to
forget.
process that it wasn't the new
Yeah,
one,
let's not
Rebirth
forget
here.
that Final Fantasy VII Remake had a 1 year exclusivity deal in 2020, and it never came anywhere other than PC. Square went out of their way not to make an Xbox version. That isn't a we've got an exclusivity contract. That is a we canny be fucked. Like, that was crazy.
We're too
Um,
busy over here making foam stars.
yeah, apparently. Um, the rumor also is apparently that Remake is coming to Switch too, which I will love to see that happen. Like, please,
Oh my
please, for the love
god.
of God, I'd love to see that. Everything will look like the door. Everything will. It'll be great. I can't wait. Um,
The
I mean,
ground is gonna look like those bad skyboxes.
if it's as powerful as a PS4, then it should be able to run it. So fair
Yeah,
play. We'll see what happens.
it should look like a base level.
Um, But yeah, it seems though that Project Latitude is going full steam ahead. It seems like Satya Nadella's pockets know no bounds, and he wants more money. God damn it! So a bunch of games are going to be coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch too. Obviously, 2025 will be the first year, if you were unaware, that Call of Duty will be releasing on a Nintendo platform since 2013. I think Ghosts was on Wii U. If not, then it would be Black Ops 2 on Wii U in 2012. It'll be one of those two.
Imagine playing a Call of Duty game on Wii U.
Do you know what was really funny? That Black Ops 2 was definitely on Wii U, and the funny part was they just like it came out in November, and after January they were just like, we're just gonna fucking sign out to peace. Not even we're not releasing the DLC. It was we're not gonna even update it again. We're not gonna balance patch it. You guys have fun on Wii U. You know, you five have fun. Um,
To be fair, if for some reason you're in the dire straits to be playing Call of Duty on a
on a
Nintendo
Wii U,
system, you'll take
yeah,
what you can get and
true,
like it,
true.
or find a way
Um,
to get a different version.
But yeah, Call of Duty 2025 is likely to be coming to Switch too, which you might think, wow, that's crazy. But then when you realize that Call of Duty is still being made for the Xbox One, I think it'll be fine. Don't you worry about that. But it
Yeah,
also seems that a bunch of other games are coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch too. Uh, the big ones for Hunter, it seems like Hellblade 2 will finally be coming to PS5, which I think is a
very
given.
cool.
Obviously, we already
Yeah,
knew that The Outer Worlds is scheduled to come to PS5. Does that come out in 2025? I don't think it will, but
probably not.
but it's still scheduled. And then the big ones, and I do like we're not here. We're not talking like we're not saying big ones here, and then it's fucking avowed. We're talking like actual big ones here, ladies and gentlemen. The rumored games so far are Halo: The Master Chief Collection, Gears of War, the original. I think they did a remake of Gears of War 1. I'm not a Gears of War person. All I know is they're doing. I think it's a Gears of War 1 that is getting ported to PS5. Um,
I don't think there was ever like a remake yet.
uh,
Um, maybe like a remastered kind of thing, but not a remake.
uh, I'm gonna try and have a look here where I can try and figure it out because I know that it was. Was it rumored that they're doing a Gears of War remake? Was that what it is?
That might have been a rumor before they announced the
For
one that's
fucking
coming.
day? I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
Not
I
D
don't care
Day,
about Gears of
B
War,
Day,
so I think
G
I,
Day.
I think it's like E maybe.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't remember because I don't commit Gears of War to memory because af as a young child, I saw the chainsaw and the guy in half, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And the older I got, I'm like, oh, these aren't very interesting to me.
Yes. So, Remake and Rebirth are planning to come to Xbox in 2025 and 2026. Microsoft Flight Sim is coming to PS5 and Switch 2. Good luck running that on Switch 2. Halo: The Master Chief Collection is coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2. And then Jez Corden said that he also has heard that Hellblade 2, Age of Mythology, and Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition are also scheduled for PS5 at some point. This is not
Hmm.
talking about all the other rumors that we've also heard. There's been a rumor for a long time that Forza Horizon 5 has also got a PS5 port in the works. I think we heard about that, God, probably about 6 or 7 months ago. So
Yeah.
lots of games scheduled. Halo's just that's it. Halo is the that's it.
And
It's
yeah, that
over.
one is like you can't really. it'd be weird to see anything. It'd be weird if they claimed like exclusive. Xbox is like, no, we're not giving you this, but you can
Yeah,
have Halo. Like,
it's yeah, and
it'd be
I
bizarre.
well, and I think we all sit here and we go, that's weird, but I was talking to a couple of friends because obviously, uh, we're all, we're very invested in the gaming ecosystem, and a lot of people aren't as invested as we are. We're very nerdy when it comes to actually knowing about games and all that jazz. A lot of people aren't in the know like us. So when I talk to my casual friends, and I just brought it up nonchalantly, where I'm like, oh yeah, Xbox seems to be planning to bring Halo Master Chief Collection to PS5. That was like the biggest like fucking like mind blown moment that I've heard from my friends in a while. We're like, are you see what they're bringing Halo? I'm like, yeah, it sounds like it. And they were like, oh, I'm
Yeah, and it's
100%
like
buying that. I'm so buying that. I loved Halo. Like
it's
it's the
it's one
it's
of
the
those
watershed
things
moment.
too, where when it comes out, you know, it'll never not look fake.
Yeah, it won't. I said if they make if limited run were like we're doing a physical edition of Halo the Master Chief Collection, instantly pre-order that because that's just weird. A PlayStation copy of a Halo game is just weird.
Yeah,
It's like walking. It's like expecting to walk into a store and seeing like Gears of War on Xbox, not Gears of War, fucking God of War on Xbox. That's what I was trying to say. God of War on
yeah.
Xbox. Just seeing Kratos with I'm like, that's just weird. Like that doesn't happen. Um, and I mean, it's obvious that it's going to happen, and I think 2025, whatever actually comes out this year, is gonna 2025 will be known as the year where the band-aid was ripped off. This is the year where Xbox goes third party.
Yeah.
Um, and at this point, I kind of think it's the right strategy. If I'm honest with you, I think
Yeah,
that
it seems they were it seems like they've been just put in a Sisyphean task ever since the Xbox One.
yeah,
Whereas like Game Pass was not a move anyone ever would have made if things went according to plan.
yeah, yeah.
So now they've got to, and I don't think it's done for them what they need it to do, despite how much people might like it.
And let's not
So
here's the thing is I think that ever since the Activision Blizzard acquisition in 2020, was that 2023? God, it feels
I
like
think it
it.
was finalized in 23. Yeah,
Yeah.
geez, it feels like an eternity ago.
I feel like that was, especially because, Xbox was very much in beforehand, just kind of running under the books. And Microsoft didn't care about Xbox. Let's be real. Before 2023, 2022, it was just a thing that happened. It made a bit of money, but, Microsoft is a billion-dollar corporation. They do not care about the millions that Xbox was bringing in. They just kind of let
Yeah,
them be. And then that acquisition happened, and then obviously Satya Nadella and the board at Microsoft were like, "Oh, if we're spending $60 billion on an acquisition, then you better start bringing in some money." And
yeah.
it seems like the only justifiable reason is for Xbox to become the biggest publisher in the industry, and I think that is where we're going to end up. Is I think Xbox will be the biggest multi-platform publisher in the industry.
Which makes life easier for me.
And I think,
But
I think it's
yeah,
basically going to be, hey, do you want to buy, you can, they'll still make it, they'll still make an Xbox, an next gen Xbox, and they'll be like, hey, do you want to get all of our stuff on a subscription for cheap?
yeah,
Or do you want to pay $70 each time like a little baby? Goo goo gaga, go buy it on PS5. Give us $70. And I
yeah,
think, because I think they've realized that no, like, it's in terms of competition, it's over. And it has been for a long time. Like I say, Series X and S is behind Xbox One, which is already telling you it's bad because Xbox One was fucking dire already.
yeah. Like
But if Game Pass was going to
nobody
have an
wants.
effect, it would have had an effect by now.
Yeah, like the dominoes have been supposed to fall since I graduated.
Yeah. And I mean, let's
That's
not
a
like
little early, but
obviously we're talking about. Let's be real here. Xbox is going to 100% release more games on PlayStation than
yeah, which will be
PlayStation is this year.
hilarious. It'll be a hilarious new version of Xbox will be PlayStation's best partner.
Yeah, 100%. Because you've already got indie confirmed. That'll be it, like
Doom.
literally in the next few months. Doom, like I say, Outer
Yeah.
Worlds is already confirmed with all these other leaks like Halo, Age of Mythology, like maybe if Forza shows up. There's so much stuff that they could just start pumping out. It's like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So many games.
This would be a really easy one for them. Would Xbox give the okay to make a Insomniac? What's the? It's escaping me.
Spyro,
No, um,
Sunset
the
Overdrive.
X Sunset Overdrive. That's the one. Yeah, because they still have the publishing rights to that technically. So it'd be like, yo, you want to make a PlayStation version of this? By all means.
Yeah, 100%. It just, and like I say, with PC revenue going up and up and up, I think that is the strategy. Is I think, obviously, Xbox still believes in Game Pass, and I think that they're going to keep doing Game Pass. But I think that they are going to start shifting priorities to be going. They've already started doing that. I've noticed that how they're like, hey guys, did you know Game Pass is on PC? PC Game Pass, PC Game Pass. Don't buy stuff on
Yeah.
Steam. Play it on our shitty app that doesn't work and uninstalls the game if we're feeling quirky. Teehee.
God.
Like, my God. Like, genuinely, if the Xbox app was actually good, then I would probably continue my Xbox Game Pass subscription. Like, that is, like, the truth is it's so miserable to use Xbox Game Pass on
If I
PC.
had to ever use it for more than once a year, at varying degrees of maybe not even a back to back, I would probably rip my hair out.
Yeah. It's I think, you know, in terms of games, though, in terms of actual exclusives, I think Xbox is looking very good right now. In terms of actual exclusives that are planned to come out this year, I think they've got quite a year lined up if they actually hit all of these
If they
releases.
all if they all come out and are well received, and there's not like a Redfall situation here, yeah. Which I
Yeah.
don't think there will be. These are all looking good, at least.
If I was a betting man, I think if any of these are going to be delayed that have technically got a date on them, I think it is Fable. Because I think it'll always be Fable. Fable is
Yeah.
technically 2025. I think it'll
It
slip.
seems the most pushable, yes.
But you have got just an absolute ton of games that they have announced that are scheduled to come out. Like I say, not only have you got stuff like Avowed that's literally out in the next few weeks, which is already getting a head start on Sony in that regard.
Yeah.
And you've also got from Obsidian, you've got the Outer Worlds, you've got South of Midnight that's supposed to be out this
South
year,
of Midnight looks really cool, yeah.
which is likely to come
Doom,
out this year. Doom, The Dark Ages,
yeah.
definitely going to come out this year.
That's a solid like 4 right there.
I'm trying to think. There's plenty more because I mean, what's in that developer direct? Like,
One of the things they're showing, yeah, let's see. Doom's being talked about, South of Midnight, Claire Obscure, which,
oh yeah, they do have the marketing for that, don't they? I always forget that
yeah.
they have the marketing for that. They have that surprise game that is
And
apparently like,
they have a
which might just be Square Enix finally giving them a Final Fantasy, but it could
yeah,
also be something
maybe.
else. I would
There's some
not be
people real,
surprised if Double Fine releases their project this year. It's been like 4 years, maybe
yeah.
3, 4 years. It was 2021. Kiln is not a big game. We all know they're making Kiln. It was like a multiplayer little quirky little clay pot
Yeah,
thing.
that
So I
couldn't
can
be.
100% see that being like a shadow drop at an E3, like their Xbox Summer Showcase, Like I can see
Yeah.
that happening. There's like, in terms of a lineup, there's a lot of like Xbox is finally building up to the point where it makes sense for them to go third party. It really does.
Yeah.
Even if it's just on a timed basis, like Indiana Jones, where it is like, hey, you can play it no extra cost on Game Pass and 3 months early if you have an Xbox. Otherwise, wait till March, wait till April, and then you can play it on PS5. And I think that kind of works for a lot of games. Obviously, Bethesda games and stuff like that, I think will release
Oh,
day
you're
and
right.
date. Activision will release day and date.
We're forgetting about the biggest third-party Xbox release that's going to happen this year.
What?
The
Starfield?
inevitable Skyrim port for Switch 2.
Oh, true. Can't wait for that. No, Hunter, think bigger. The Starfield port for Switch 2.
Mm,
You can fast travel all you want on Nintendo Switch.
yeah.
I do think
Oh
Starfield has
man.
a high likelihood of being ported to PS5 this year as well, though. I think that seems like they need to make money back on that thing somehow. They're like, oh, just port it to PS5. I know a couple
It'll
of
be
people that will buy it. I know
yeah,
a couple of people. I might buy it just to have a physical
but
copy
yeah,
of it as
it'll
one of the
be
one people that tolerated, like one of the few people that tolerated Starfield enough.
like you and Greg Miller.
Yeah. Hey, I liked Starfield enough. The DLC was
Yeah,
awful, but I at least enjoyed the game.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think Xbox is in a good place. I think that for me personally, I think the sooner they rip that band-aid off, the better. I think it's not a good plan to wait till E3 season. I think if you're gonna
No,
release
no, it's
something,
like
just release it now. Like, obviously, indie is probably March. I'd guess indie's probably gonna be March, right? It's they said spring, so it's got to be like March or April at the latest.
yeah, yeah, and it's like you I don't know, April could like anything on the calendar is an open field for PlayStation's schedule.
Yeah, there's fucking cobwebs over there, dude. Like, you're gonna have to
Yeah,
dust off your place on the shelf, but yeah, you'll be there. It'll be fine.
yeah. Like,
But
yeah, you won't be competing against anything that they're doing. But
and I think I think you've got the chance. Like I say, I think you've got quite a few of these might come sooner rather than later. But I think they just need to rip the band-aid off, and I think it'll be better for everybody. I think it'll be better for them because they have additional revenue streams other than just Game Pass. Because let's be real, Xbox gamers do not buy games. I know. I've never bought a fucking game on my Xbox, and I've owned mine now for 4 years. I just have had Game Pass, and that's about it. Um, so it brings in additional revenue streams. Xbox fans finally, they're not being fucked around with. Like they finally just get a definitive answer on this, so they can move on with their lives, and accept that this is what's going to happen.
yeah.
Um, and then PC fans stay winning because they just are getting them anyway. So it's just like, oh, cool, nice. Maybe I'll finally play Halo. I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think that PlayStation version of the Master Chief Collection would ever inspire. I think the one I would try is maybe Reach,
Hmm.
if just because from what I know about that, I might like the story in that one. I know it's got like the Crisis Core ending, so
I've heard it's like one of the better, like it's the best one. People really like
yeah.
Reach. But
So that
it's
that
insane
would be the
value
one I
though.
might
That's the thing is if you get like, hey, Halo Master Chief Collection is coming to PS5. By the way, did you know the Halo Master Chief Collection includes literally like 1, 2, 3 ODST, Reach 4 and 5?
is Reach in there?
Reach is in there in the Master Chief Collection.
Hmm,
Yeah,
that's perplexing because as far as I was aware, he was not in that game.
no, but he's yeah, he's they're all
Okay,
in.
maybe I would pick that one up
Master Chief
simply.
Master. Right, I'm looking at the Master Chief Collection now. Master
I
Chief
thought I was
Collection.
thinking it was like 1, 2, and 3 and then
No,
ODST.
No, they just kept adding and adding to the Master Chief Collection. The
Oh,
Master Chief Collection includes Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4.
ah, okay.
I mean, I bought
So
that on Steam and the Steam
I
Winter
was
Sale for
mistaken.
$8 for all of those games. I'm like, geez, Louise. Um,
It's one of those things too where it's like I probably wouldn't ever be jumping at the bit to buy it, but
hey,
if
hey
it shows
Xbox,
up
hey,
if
hey
it shows up
Xbox,
heavily discounted.
hey Xbox, come here. Do you want to commit a war crime real quick? Do you want to make everybody freak out? Come here, do this, right? Release Rare Replay on PS5. Please do
Oh,
that.
that'd be
That'd be
funny.
so funny. I want to see Banjo Kazooie on PS5 because I think that's really funny because Nintendo fans already get angry that it's on Xbox. So just imagine that a port of the Xbox version of an N64 game onto PS5. Please do
You're
that.
trying to like translate the buttons for that into a PlayStation controller would hurt my brain.
Yeah, yeah. It already hurts when I look at it and this I see the Xbox buttons and I'm like, wait, A is B and B is A. That's weird. Like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Or like any game that was made with the N64 and having the C buttons,
yeah.
hurts to try and
Try
because
the
I guess
analog stick.
it would
Gross.
be the stick
Yeah.
probably, but still feels weird because of when I played it, it was still like a button I had to press and not a
Yeah,
analog stick.
100%. Ugh.
It was like making the going from the C stick on the GameCube is easier to rationalize because at least the mechanics were, at least I wasn't already pushing the buttons for it for those specific games.
Yeah, but no, that'd be wacky. That's like one of the ones where I'm like, oh, could you imagine? That would just like that would break my brain. It's like seeing Banjo Kazooie with like PlayStation button prompts. That would actually like that would like
Yeah.
I'd lose it. But that feels wrong. That
It'd
feels
be like playing it'd be
weird,
like playing a Mario game and being told to press the circle button.
dude. Or it's like there's certain games, you know. It's like when you play. It's like whenever I played when I played Crash Bandicoot, the Insane trilogy. I played that on my Xbox for a little bit, and I was like, press the A button to jump. I'm like, nah, this feels weird. Like it just doesn't feel right. Bad juju, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, or like Persona. Persona feels weird if it's not got the PlayStation symbols, just because like you know with the history and stuff like that, just feels a bit
Yeah.
odd. Uh, it's like one of the main reasons I didn't play it on Game Pass. 'Cause I'm like, it feels weird playing Persona on a fucking Xbox. It just doesn't. It just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right, Hunter. It doesn't feel right. It's like playing like Mario on like a PlayStation controller. No, that's gross. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But no, that's how I'm feeling at the moment. Regardless of like in terms of strategy, I think Nintendo are doing pretty decent. Nintendo, that you're thriving, you're doing great. Just don't fuck up the landing of the Switch too, right? Just
Yeah.
let's hope that the scalper situation isn't too bad, and I think you should be fine. I think Xbox is in the middle. They just need to rip that band-aid off. Sony, I think you need to have a long look in the mirror
Get your act together.
and get your act together, because I am solid. I'm like locked in that PS5 worst PlayStation generation, and it's not even close at the moment.
Yeah.
Not even close. Which is funny because PlayStation 4 is like so high up for me. Like it genuinely is. It's like one of the
Yeah,
best,
like
if
it's a
not the
it's like a
best.
very, for me it's a very easy ranking of 2, 4, 1, 3 as
Five.
far as completed, yeah, as far as completed generations anyway. And then yeah, it seeming exceedingly likely that 5 will be at the very bottom.
You know, it's bad when Xbox is still having a stinker generation. I can still go, you know, Xbox, I genuinely think you are still doing better than the Xbox One generation, though. So, you know, fair play. I think you're actually not in. I'm not. I think you're not in your worst era. So, you
Yeah.
know, fair play, fair play. Uh, right, let's leave it there. For now. Hey, we're back. Only an hour 40. You can't. They can't all be winners. You know, they can't all be 2 hour extras. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Uh, our link is on screen right now. You can go follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever you want to do. Keep up to date with what we do outside of the podcast and all that jazz. You know, maybe I'll start tweeting about finishing Metaphor. Who knows? Maybe I'll finish Metaphor. Wouldn't that be crazy? Who
Yeah,
knows?
that'd be insane.
Be crazy. Finishing a game this year.
Oof.
Wild. Imagine. But yes, next week, who knows what we're talking about? We're in the dark ages, dude. We are waiting for Doom.
Not the Doom Dark Ages
Yeah.
either.
But yeah, we're just waiting for game releases really, and none of them are really happening until what like Avowed. I might actually play Lost Records episode 1 now if the path is that clear and the
Yeah.
horizons are looking that like dire.
I
But
think the first thing I'm looking at now is the middle of February too, but
you're gonna
uh
reveal that? What is it?
it's called After Love EP. It's a it was the last project that the Coffee Talk guy was making
Oh,
before he
before he
passed
passed.
away,
Oh, maybe I should check
and
that out. Actually, that sounds.
they finally got a date for it. This game that's going to emotionally assassinate me is coming out on Valentine's Day.
Oh hell yeah, I might be down for that.
Yeah.
I might double. Yeah, I might join you on that. That sounds like a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
idea.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick that up because I've been eagerly anticipating that since it was announced before he passed away, even. So it's been a couple of years.
Damn, that sounds like a good idea. So yeah, plenty of stuff
Yeah,
to cover in February, obviously. And then as we get into March with Assassin's Creed, April directs, blah 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 blah. This will just become a Switch 2 podcast because we've lost all fucking hope in everybody else. It seems.
yeah.
Um,
Switch 2 and Hades 2. Let's go.
maybe match made in heaven when they both come out at the same time. Am I right?
Oh my god, dude. Straight up, Hades 2 comes out on like near the Switch 2, that'll be what I
Oh,
play
yeah,
on it.
100%. Switch 2 will be the first console it comes out on. I can guarantee you that
Yeah.
much. I feel like it'll be on the Switch 2. I think it'll be on the Switch 1. I think it'll be a both.
Oh
Be a
yeah,
2 for 1.
probably. But it, and like the only reason I was saying it, my choice of phrasing was mostly because I don't know, maybe they just want to release to every console at once. But
Oh,
if
they will.
Nintendo's
It'll
like,
be
hey,
all of them this time.
yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be all of them. 100%.
yeah.
But also, I can tell if like, obviously...
Dude, if Nintendo wanted to be like, we will heavily market you for this like we did the first game, if you want to fill in one of our more empty slots for our own games now, I'd be like, that'd be a layup.
I mean, yeah, I've become a bit of a PC nerd where it's like, I'll probably buy it on PC now, but if I was to buy it on a console, Switch 2 sounds like the right choice to me out of the 3 consoles. That sounds like the right choice to me, is maybe picking it up on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Be a lot of fun. What else will be on Switch 2? Join us in April when we watch the Direct where Hades 2, Silk Song, GTA 6, they'll all be there. Earthblade, yeah, they'll all be there.
Mina the Hollower.
Mina the Hollower, can't wait for
everything.
That one. Ukulele will be there, it'll be crazy.
Ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow before Yuka Replay.
That'll shadow drop and then Ukulele will be announced. It's going to be a great time, guys. Join us in April, why don't you? Please listen to the podcast between now and April, please, for the love of anything. But hey.
We'll come up with stuff, we promise.
Maybe. We'll see. We can't do an April Fool's episode now, though, because now stupid Nintendo is taking it away from us. I digress. Anyway, that's all this week, folks. We'll be back, same time, same place, next week for more. But hey, until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Toodaloo.